Welcome, my friends, to the showdown between Bretonnia, who shall be led by the FAY Enchantress, Gotrek, and Felix. And today, guys, we're going to be facing off against the Beastmen, who shall be led by Morker the Shadowgave, aka Captain Dreadlocks. Now, as far as the build goes, we do have some light skirmishing here in the front, and I actually do think that Mounted Yeomen Archers are an okay choice against Beastmen. Now, their damage output isn't going to be insane or like super brutal or anything like that, but they're a good counter skirmishing option against Centaurs with throwing axes, which are a very common pick. So oftentimes the Beastmen are going to have like 2 or 3 Centaurs with throwing axes, and basically these are a counter against your heavy cav. You come in with Knights of the Realm, Grail Knights, whatever it is, and these guys are going to be able to get good, steady armor-piercing damage on them. So having the Wardens of Montfort here and the Mounted Yeomen Archers to kind of circle the flank and maybe keep these guys at bay, or at least kind of force your opponent to respect these guys, is going to potentially be relatively strong. On top of that, we got a couple groups of peasant mobs in the front line, just going to be taking a beating for the lady. The Beastmen do have really good shock damage on the impact. Like when they first come in, they go in deep and they have a good time. So being able to throw some peasant mobs in the way of charging Razorgore herds or things like that is always quite nice. As far as our real infantry goes, we do have 2 groups of battle pilgrims, and these guys are a nice, well-rounded choice. They're going to be able to deal with like some of the frontline troops, like some of these Ungor spears. And this is very much like, I think that most Beastmen players actually don't rely on the Beastmen infantry as much. They just use these Ungor spears, and they use Razorgores and Centaurs to really just kind of bring the big punch. So, ooh, it looks like an Amber Spear going to be coming down, and I am kind of lined up a little bit. So I think at the last second I tried to like turn so it would go straight through, but I can't quite remember what happens here. But you guys will get to see that. 2 groups of battle pilgrims. We do have the Grail Relique here, which is going to be keeping these guys fighting for quite some time against the Foul Beasts. Gotrek and Felix are actually very, very competitive in this matchup, in my opinion. They're extremely tough to kill. You can anchor around the Grail Relique and the FAY Enchantress. You can get healing. They do a ton of work. Gotrek, anti-large, armor-piercing, pretty much a world beater. And Felix, of course, can heal Gotrek, Felix, as well as the FAY Enchantress. So it makes for a really, really nasty blob for sure. And it almost makes you think that like maybe the more optimal way to play it is just to kind of have a true Death Star and just like blob up. But again, I think most good players are going to be able to Amber Spear you or have a Purple Sun or other things like that. We've got 2 archers in the back and 3 Knights of the Realm. Knights of the Realm, pretty self-explanatory. Anti-large, they lack AP, but against Beastmen, you're facing large, lightly armored targets all the time. Centaurs, we have Razorgore herds here who are large. We have the Gorbel, we have Butchers of Kalkengard, you name it. So a lot of good choices. That's pretty much it for my army. Should be fun. And for the forces of the Dark Lord Felcon, he's got spears in the front line, Razorgore herds in the secondary, Butchers of Kalkengard here, and Gorbel, both pretty good armor-piercing options. Gorbel, of course, is anti-large. He's got Malagor the Shadowgave? No, Morker the Shadowgave. My brain just slipped up for a second there. It's going to be Morker the Shadowgave. Centaurs, throwing axes, and a bunch of doggies. Doggies obviously just going to be chasing off routing units, and it's always a pretty good thing to have in your toolbox whenever, even if you don't think the hounds are good in that matchup, if there's like, just bring one to chase off routing units. It's usually going to pay its dues. Like for example, if he's able to snipe Felix or something, or one of my knights and chase them off the battlefield when they're at like half HP, that's like huge value. So there's going to be some light counter skirmishing going on here. Wardens of Montfort, as well as the Mounted Yeomen Archers, are going to be teeing off into the Centaurs and throwing axes and getting some pretty good value, doing some damage for sure. Not like, not a metric ton, but still not bad at all. In the meantime, Peasant Bowmen with the Pox Arrows are going to be positioning here just to kind of keep these guys at bay. And it looks like the front line with the Foul Beastmen are going to be advancing on me. Ungor Spears and Minotaurs and Pigs stand at the ready. The Wardens are wasting some of their ammo here on these guys, but it looks like a juicy Amber Spear is going to be coming down, so let's check it out. And there it goes. Leaving through some peasants. Not the most damage. It only took out about 8 models, and they're 8 or something around there, and didn't do a whole lot of damage there. Anyways, peasant mobs here are going to be intercepting the doggies, using them as a screen. So the dogs are going to be a pretty good peel here against the peasants. Should take them out pretty quick here, especially with the Grey Shaman. But that's their job. They kind of halted the advance, and now I kind of know where the Beastmen are coming from, and I can allocate my resources. So Battle Pilgrim's going to be charging in and going to be getting crumps pretty good. A lot of angry, pigs and bulls and just all sorts of farm animals here are going to be jumping in. But Gotrek and Felix are going to be rushing in as well to help out right here in the center. And over here, the Mounted Yeomen Archers are still kind of fending these guys back. And I'm doing some light kind of pushing with the Knights of the Realm. Not like committing to chase these guys because that's kind of stupid, but basically just kind of keeping them here so my Peasant Bowmen and other troops can kind of deal with them. Now some dogs are going to be rushing in, looks like they're thinking about, but the FAY Enchantress and Knights of the Realm are here. So we're going to be getting a big old counter charge on these guys, and that's pretty much going to break off those doggies. They will pull back, but they're probably going to break from that charge. Now that does kind of open up some backline pressure. I commit pretty heavily here. Both Knights of the Realm are going to be going in. I was like, okay, let's fight the Butchers, let's fight the Gorbel, but still a very dangerous situation. Felcon is going to be responding by summoning a Manscore here, which will probably bring in FAY Enchantress coming in as well. But man, really good positioning here. He's able to get the Centaurs, get beautiful throwing axe coverage here on my Knights of the Realm, and it's quite scary. Now on the backside, my Spearmen are fighting his Spearmen. Battle Pilgrims are winning. Grail is keeping these guys fighting here in the center. And my Knights of the Realm are going to get a great charge against Razorgore, so it ends up being pretty good here. Gotrek and Felix a little bit caught up, and that's kind of the problem with having a mobile build with them, is they oftentimes get left in the dust, but I still think they're very good. And of course, they're going to help me kind of sustain this front line. They'll probably beat back these Razorgore herds, and eventually will come into their own in the late game. Centaurs with throwing axes are finally forced back by my Mounted Yeomen here. We're able to push those guys back, and you can also see that the men-at-arms and some of my reserve men-at-arms are now going to be screaming forward because there are a lot of angry beasts, and Falcon is pretty much, popping all the tricks right now. The Feral Manticore's come out. I believe there has been a Chaos Spawn summon from Morker. I think he's going to be pulling it in here to get it on my Knights of the Realm. He's been keeping Morker in the back, probably just to make sure that the Spirit Essence of Chaos pops on a high-value unit. Now here, yeah, there's the first Chaos Spawn. It looks like it did get rid of some Peasant mobs, so that's pretty good for me. And here the FAY Enchantress is in a bit of a tough fight versus some piggies, but she does have some support nearby. Some Knights of the Realm are going to be slamming into the back of these guys. Manticore's coming in, and it looks like a second Manticore summon might be coming down here in a second, so the Beastmen really just kind of blowing all the load here. And, it can be very scary, and at this point in the game, it's very easy to look at the balance and be discouraged. But remember, guys, when you're playing Beastmen, there are so many artificial inflations. It's insane. So Manticore summon, Chaos Spawn here, Chaos Spawn over here. I mean, they're just using a lot of summons everywhere, and that's why the bounce power looks like it does. Chalice Potion's going to be coming down here. I mean, I could have used it over here on the Centaurs, but I figured he would have dodged that. And at least here we get some really good value. We're able to nuke those guys pretty hard and really put them in the can, allowing my Spears to potentially win that fight. Hard to say. Now, I don't have a lot of, troops left in the center pocket. The Beastmen have been really aggressive. The Chaos Spawn plus the Manticores have really pushed them back. Men-at-Arms are running, but I do have some troops coming back. Knights of the Realm, Spears, Mounted Yeomen, Archers are back in the periphery here. And this isn't a bad situation. It's the FAY Enchantress, it's Gotrek, it's Felix, and this is the dream team, right? Because FAY Enchantress is draining, Gotrek is, just clubbing things, and Felix is also healing the FAY Enchantress, Gotrek, and Felix. So it's incredibly strong himself, I should say. So pretty good situation. We should be able to kind of endure this here. The Chaos Spawn will be disappearing soon. Knights of the Realm charging in does a little bit of nice shock damage to those Chaos Spawn here. And on the wings, you can see the Spearmen at Arms and these other troops are holding quite firm. Now, a big mistake I made this game was also not getting the Grail. It should have been with the FAY Enchantress and that Goon Squad, because the best way to actually deal with the Gotrek and Felix blob is you snipe Felix. Once Felix gone, he's not immune to psychology, he's not unbreakable, he can run. And then from there, Gotrek and the other characters are relatively easy to pick off. So it looks like the Manticore is going to be going in, trying to get Felix here, but the FAY Enchantress is holding pretty firm, and the Feral Manticore is going to be disappearing relatively soon, about 10 or 15 seconds. But man, Gotrek is just giving the business to this guy. He's chopping down this Gorbel, the Gorbel's shaking, he's got 757 HP, and he's going to be running for the hill, so Gotrek doing an outstanding job there, just breaking those troops. And now the bounce power is going a little bit back towards the middle, but still in the favor of the Beastmen, but I do have some troops in the wings. I have the Mounted Yeomen, like I said, Peasant Archers coming back online, Men-at-Arms. I'm not sure if I have any Battle Pilgrims left. I'm pretty sure they just got annihilated in the beginning, but the FAY Enchantress unfortunately got pushed out of that pocket by the Butchers of Kalkengard. They have enough mass to kind of bully her, so I tried to run away, but really good pursuit here. Chaos Poison, Warhounds, other troops like this, and Gotrek and Felix are now kind of stuck fighting these pigs and Razorgore herds, but they should be able to do some pretty good work here, but the pig does knock over Felix, but he'll be okay. He's taken much worse in the books. The Grail is going to get pushed off, unfortunately. I don't think it's going to be coming back. Centaurs are still in good shape, but guys, the balance of power is ebbing back towards the middle as the FAY Enchantress is going to be forming a secondary pocket here. So Men-at-Arms charge in. She will be encouraging these characters and also draining all the nearby foes, which is great. Not so good against single entities or even multi-entities, kind of like Razorgores and Minotaurs and things like that. But against the Chaff and the Centaurs, her drain is quite strong. So once these guys kind of broke off here, the Peasant mobs broke, Men-at-Arms kind of broke and terror routed there. I start to run with FAY Enchantress. Now, she is pretty quick. She has 95 speed, but the Centaurs are very quick as well. They're currently poisoned from some of the archer fire, but they will catch her eventually, especially with angles of pursuit, and they are able to catch her there. Now, Gotrek and Felix still grinding it out, and I'm trying to, keep up with the Minotaurs, but the Minotaurs are very fast. FAY Enchantress is trapped, but guys, look at that bounce of power. It's back towards the middle, so realizing I'm completely surrounded, I was like, okay, let's use the FAY Enchantress, let's use a bombardment, try and get these piggies off. And he does kind of fall back here for a second, but I'm still partially surrounded, so I can't quite escape here. And you can see he's doing a very good job dodging it, but also not letting me go. Very, very good stuff there. But Gotrek and Felix still chopping away. Ungor Spearmen here are wavering. I mean, they're taking a ton of damage. Felix does have a bonus versus infantry, so he's going to be good versus Chaff. And Men-at-Arms are coming back in. They charge down the hill. The heroic warriors of the old world coming in here with all 56 models. Gotrek's just having a good old jolly time. And will his oath be fulfilled? It's hard to say here. I mean, he's cleaving some of these Ungors. Definitely doing pretty good in that respect. The Grail's coming back in here, so finally have a good leadership boon. And this is the dream situation. I mean, if the FAY Enchantress had been here, I actually think I might have a chance of really, really cleaning up this pocket very quickly. But now it's going to be more of a grind without her. So Gotrek and Felix are in here. The Grail is going to make Felix immune to psychology, so I really need to keep that bad boy alive, but it looks like it's pretty low. I mean, 212 and the Pimp Claws of Morker, the Shadowgate, are doing some pretty good damage here. And let's see what else I have on the battlefield. I have some Knights coming back in, so the Knights of the Realm are going to be looking for an opportunity to deal with some Razorgores or troops like that, but for the most part, I get some shock charges here on the Ungor Spearmen herd. So just cleaning up the chaff, it's free real estate, why not take it? Because Gotrek and Felix are going to be, very, very durable here. It's going to take a while to take those guys out. And Gotrek doing some nice battle cries here, voiced by Brian Blessed, if I'm not mistaken, and he's able to fend off those butchers, which is great. They still have all 12 models, though, which is very, very punishing. And now you can see Falcon, of course, knowing that Felix is kind of the lifeline here, because if you don't kill Felix and you just focus Gotrek, you're going to have a bad time, because Felix can buff Gotrek's melee defense and his ward save, and Gotrek can do the same thing to himself. So he's going to be really, really tough to take down. Some of the mounted yeoman archers do intercept the charge here from the pig, but then I pull back with Knights of the Realm and I get a counter charge right here on the piggy. So the pigs are going to get lanced down pretty hard. Butchers are coming in, which is going to be a brutal counter charge as well, but at least we do force off some Razor Gores and do some good damage. Knights of the Realm are terrified, unfortunately, and they're probably going to be a non-factor as this game does go on. So right here we have Gotrek and Felix. They're coming after Morker. Might be able to get some work in. I mean, they're doing good. These heroes. Oh, look at the friendly fire. All those poor pigs just being taken apart by Centaurs. Now Centaurs are running out of ammo. Felix is in here. Gotrek is in here. He's almost at his healing cap though, because over the course of the game I was healing him a lot with the regrowth and other things like that because he was taking some serious damage. But you know, Gotrek's always here to protect his buddy. Gotrek's Doom has been popped, a little bit preemptive perhaps, but I thought I might get in sustained combat versus Morker. But the Minotaurs are charging in. Felix is going to get punted. And yeah, this is good stuff here. He's kind of pushing me away from the pocket here. Balance of power is still attainable. It's not like out of reach yet. But yeah, they're actually down to 10 models, so Felix might be able to get these guys. You can see him pathing Felix back here as the Minotaurs do kind of cycle charge him. And oh, Gotrek coming in with the big old chop, taking out a Butcher of Kalkengard there, but Centaur is cycle charging. Just so much pressure coming in. Morker is nowhere near his healing cap either, so it's a little bit kind of a, you know, unfortunate there, a little bit discouraging to say the least. Now around the battlefield, there's not really any Bretonnians left. It's mainly Gotrek and Felix holding on here, so the two bandits of the old world, or heroes, depends on what perspective you're looking at, are still fighting and they're going pretty hard, but this is kind of the sign of doom here. Whenever Felix can get isolated and pushed away, you know, Gotrek fights on his own, and he's very good. I mean, he's going to be able to hold here for quite some time, but the fact that Felix has been broken off here is going to be pretty grim. And, I mean, Gotrek will make a glorious last stand. He'll fight for a long, long time and actually take out probably a couple more Minotaurs, maybe do some good damage against the Cow King here. You can see pretty well surrounded, but, you know, it's a hard situation. So I think finally Gotrek, the Slayer who can never fulfill his oath, often referred to as one of the worst Slayers in the old world, even though he's, like, arguably the most ferocious and best of all of them. I mean, I guess their merit is kind of judged by them fulfilling their oath, right? But yeah, he's getting in here and he's actually doing a ton of damage against Morker. Really kind of just crumping this guy. You can see he's getting taken down. Morker might actually need to fall back here. I mean, it's looking pretty scary for him, but you know, he doesn't cause terror or anything like that. He's at his healing cap, so his fortitude isn't going to heal him here in the fourth quarter. But man, he really gave that Morker the Shadow Gave, took out countless Minotaurs, countless Beastmen here in this battle with 105 kills. And I do think that Gotrek and Felix are very, very good in this matchup. I think a couple things with my build probably should have been fine-tuned with that because my build was a relatively mobile build. And the problem with that being is that if you invest in Gotrek and Felix, like you're spending about 2,000 plus gold in more of a static kind of Fey Enchantress blob type build. And then from there, you know, they're going to be able to kind of win the mobile game because you have less invested. I think you need to kind of go one way or the other. Granted, it was still a close game. Like, I almost came back and could have potentially gotten that game with a couple better plays earlier on with my Cav, but even still, I think with Gotrek and Felix, you need to go with a bit more of a defensive Death Star. I mean, having some light Cav for peeling and maybe some more counter skirmishing, but more Peasant Archers, more Halberds, things like that, that can really force your opponent into a blobby fight, where the Grail's really going to shine better, keep Felix immunopsychology, keep him, you know, near the pocket, and the Fey Enchantress train. Like, so I think, you know, obviously Gotrek and Felix just came out. People are learning. I think they're incredibly good in this matchup. I think in other matchups for like Empire, like bringing one or the other is better. But nonetheless, I think Gotrek is going to be an ace for Bretonnia, like even by himself, because he's so good against large monsters. So in matchups where you're worried about, you know, big armored threats, like against Doom Kings, he's going to be a must pick. Fey Enchantress, like all the layers of healing, it's so incredibly good. But yeah, Falcon played a great game. His piggies did good work, and it was a wild one. Like I really thought we were on the ropes when all those summons came off, but when the bounce power started to come back, I was like, man, we might have a chance at this. But alas, he was able to capitalize, did a really good job chasing off Felix, which had he let them fight together, it could have been, you know, game over. So man, really good play by Falcon. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this game. Now let's go ahead and take a look at a build which I think might be better, like in that matchup. I mean, against Beastmen, you need some like mass to deal with the Razor Gores and some of the other threats that are going to be coming in, because if you just, you know, have infantry, they can often get cycle charged into oblivion unless you're really good at halting. Now, Fey Enchantress here, I think she's really good, and you know, honestly, like it is something to be said that if you go with the Green Knight and then you go with Felix, actually that might even be better. I mean, Gotrek's okay there for sure, but the Green Knight causes terror, which is insanely powerful against Beastmen. I actually think this might be better. I mean, it's a little bit more expensive, but yeah, this is really good. So, you know, from that defeat, we actually learned something. I think if we had Green Knight with late game terror and very little magic damage on that Beastman roster, I think it would have been game over. Like, he would have been able to terror out, and like, it's a whole new game, right? All right, so now for the rest of the army, I think I think Battle Pilgrims do make a pretty good frontline choice because they do take out the spears very quickly. You get some spearmen with shields to fight against Centaurs and things like that. You get the Grail, and then you just kind of play very defensively with archers. Get one Peasant Archer usually. I think a couple of those guys are good. Mounted Yeoman for counter skirmishing. Those guys are going to be quite solid. And then from here, I mean, we need some knights, like some mass, to kind of hold things in place. So maybe we get some Knights of the Realm, cut one of these guys for now. We could probably cut the Battle Pilgrims. I don't think we need that much in the front line. And then from here, we're able to get a little bit more mass. So I think just getting some Spearmen at Arms and things like that. I mean, they trade pretty well in the late game versus those other troops. And do we want to get another knight? I mean, getting these guys actually couldn't be bad, like Knights Errant, just to kind of give you a little bit more pressure. But we need more backline stuff to kind of protect things. So, you know, I'm tempted to get Grail Guardians even with a build like this. But Centaurs with throwing axes really can take them apart. But typically, if you're staying high and tight with Peasant Bowmen plus Wardens and things like that, you should be able to kind of fend them off. Pegasus Knights will get kited. I still don't think they're a great choice. So probably just getting Knights of the Realm and then getting a couple Peasant mobs just to kind of hold things down. I think a build like this could be better. It's like a little bit more defensive, less Knight pressure, more kind of focused around just Helm's Deeping. And man, that Green Knight Felix combo I think could be really nasty. So again, well played to my opponent. Make sure to check out his Twitch channel, which will be in the comment section below. And we will see you guys on the other side. Take care.